Well, hey guys, comment below. Have you heard of Diindolylmethane or DIM supplements? I get a lot of comments here on YouTube. Please do a video on DIM supplements as a treatment for cystic acne, hormonal acne, hair loss. So in this video, I'm going to explain what the heck DIM is, how it might work, and is it a viable treatment option for acne, hair loss, and various, skin issues. If you're new here, hi, my name is Andrea. I'm a board certified dermatologist. I make videos here on YouTube related to issues of skin and hair health. So if that sounds of interest to you, consider subscribing. Anyways, getting into the video, Diindolylmethane or DIM. These supplements you can find, in various health food stores. A lot of them make claims that they support physical fitness, overall wellness. What the heck is DIM? It is a derivative of a compound found in cruciferous vegetables. And taking a step back, epidemiologic studies suggest an inverse relationship with consumption of cruciferous vegetables. These are things like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, all of my favorites, and the incidence of certain types of cancer. So researchers have been very interested in various compounds from these cruciferous vegetables as having potential anti-cancer effects. DIM, diindolylmethane, is a derivative of one of these beneficial compounds, and laboratory studies suggest it may have anti-cancer effects. And then there are some actual clinical studies on real people suggesting it may have an anti-cancer effect for cancers like breast cancer and prostate cancer. But these clinical studies on actual people, they're very, very small. So it is research that is in its infancy, and it is too premature to suggest this compound as a preventative or a treatment for any type of cancer. So why the heck are people taking it for acne? One of the ways in which it works is it antagonizes the androgen receptor. Whoa, why does that matter? Well, if you'll recall from my videos on acne, acne is not only a disease where you have cells that proliferate a little bit too quickly, get sticky, and plug up the pore, but you also have excess sebum production that fills the pore. And that creates an inflammatory milieu that leads to acne breakouts. Now that sebum production is governed by your hormones. Androgen hormones, they bind to receptors in the oil gland, leading to more sebum production. And that is what underscores hormonal acne and cystic acne, and targeting that part of the acne pathway is what underscores treatments like spironolactone, this newer treatment we have, topical Winlevi, and oral birth control pills. They address that hormonal issue that leads to excess oiliness. I mean, technically all acne is hormonal. The hormones that we have, they do govern that. But for people, for example, who have polycystic ovary syndrome, this tends to be a predominant issue for them. So this compound that comes from cruciferous vegetables, it antagonizes that receptor and may, reduce oil production. Likewise, when we're talking about hair loss and hair thinning, there's a type of hair loss called androgenetic alopecia. I've got a lot of videos on this. It's basically pattern balding. It can happen in men and women, and it seems as though the hair follicle is very sensitive to these androgen hormones, and that causes the hair to kind of miniaturize, and that is what leads to balding. And so treatments that would antagonize that signaling may help with hair restoration. However, we have 0 studies in people looking at DIM supplements for the treatment of acne, hair loss, or any other skin or hair condition. But if you go on the internet and you Google DIM supplements and acne, you're gonna find a ton of testimonials singing the praises of these DIM supplements, claiming, this cured my hormonal acne, woohoo, everybody be taking DIM, 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 DIM. I caution you against falling for that kind of thing because it is an anecdote. Acne, it can come and go and flare with certain things. And when somebody is giving you a personal testimonial about a treatment, be very cautious, because that you're not really getting a full picture of what else was going on in their life. And so that is where you need objective data to really say if something is a good treatment option or not. Anecdotes alone, they're not enough, and that can actually end up being dangerous in some cases. Suffice it to say, we don't really have research studies on taking DIM supplements for any scare. So suffice it to say, we have 0 studies on taking DIM supplements for skin or hair or any skin issue that you might be concerned with. Oiliness, pores. I mean, there's a mechanism there by which it might work. The majority of the studies that we have on DIM supplements do come from cells in a dish, but we also actually do have clinical studies on real humans looking at this supplement in people with cancers. There is one small clinical study that suggests DIM supplements may be an option for certain types of treatment-resistant prostate cancer, and some other studies looking at DIM supplements in breast cancer. But saying there's no real research to support taking a supplement for something, it doesn't stop people from selling you the supplement, and it doesn't stop people from wanting to try it out. So is this supplement actually safe? Well, in the clinical studies that we have on the cancer studies, using doses between 200 and 400 milligrams daily, there were no adverse effects reported, so it appears to be relatively safe. Now, I mentioned that it antagonizes the androgen receptor, but there is also some research to suggest that it may influence the estrogen signaling pathway as well. And so that could potentially be dangerous, especially if you are taking oral birth control pills. It may actually, oral birth control pills, they do come with a small risk of an increased risk of blood clots. And if you are taking a supplement that may interact with the estrogen pathway, well, that could actually further elevate your risk of blood clots. In fact, there was a case report of somebody who did develop blood clots while taking a DIM supplement. Now, that individual had other risk factors for blood clots, namely, I think they were a smoker, and maybe they even had a history of cancer, which puts you at risk for blood clots, but it's something to have in the back of your mind as a potential risk, because this does interact with some of the estrogen signaling pathways. It could, in theory, put you at risk for blood clots. That is theoretical, though. We only have that one case report. But because it interacts with the estrogen pathways and the hormonal pathways, it is contraindicated if you are pregnant, planning to become pregnant, or breastfeeding. So it's a no-go in those situations. And another important cautionary tale about taking DIM supplements is that from the clinical studies we have learned that it actually interacts with the enzymes that are involved in metabolism of medications. It can end up perhaps rendering medications you're taking ineffective. And the medication that comes to mind that I would worry the most about, that would probably be the most germane to people watching this video, is going to be oral contraceptive pills. This could, in theory, render oral contraceptive pills ineffective. There has also been a case report of visual impairment in an individual who was taking quite high doses of DIM for a couple of months. The symptom of visual impairment resolved, I think, about 8 weeks after discontinuing it. So it wasn't permanent visual impairment, but that is concerning. And then there is another case report of an adverse drug rash while on DIM supplements. But overall, from the limited research that we do have, it does suggest that it's safe, but given what we've learned about some of the mechanisms by which it works, you do have to exercise caution, especially if you are taking certain medications. So as with any supplement, definitely discuss with your doctor, your healthcare provider, if this is right for you. Go over the medications that you might be taking, including any other supplements that you are taking, and to see if this is something that would be safe for you. And discuss with them as far as any other medical issues that you might have. It's a really important conversation to have before starting any supplement. So why not just eat broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, all of the good cruciferous vegetables? I highly encourage everyone to do that. I'm a big advocate of a healthy diet and getting a good balance of fruits and vegetables. They have a variety of beneficial compounds, antioxidants. Broccoli has something called sulforaphanes, which actually can increase the antioxidants in the skin. So yeah, definitely consume your cruciferous vegetables. However, unfortunately, while this compound is, derived from cruciferous vegetables, you may not actually get meaningful levels of it from just eating these vegetables, because the amount of DIM in cruciferous vegetables is going to be highly variable depending on the soil, the rainfall, the type of seed it was grown from, as well as the relative expression of certain enzymes in the plant that are needed to actually, process and lead to the end result of DIM. So it's quite variable. And honestly, I can't give you a guide as to, you know, where to source your broccoli and cabbage. And I think when you go to that level of trying and scrutiny, I think it just becomes a bit too much. And you're better off just, you know, eating a balanced diet and trying to get in a good amount of fruits and vegetables, including those cruciferous vegetables. What if you hate eating cruciferous vegetables? You hate the way they smell, they taste, you cannot stand them. Honestly, you know, just because the studies show an inverse correlation between consumption of cruciferous vegetables and, you know, cancer associations with certain types of cancers, that doesn't, you know, necessarily mean that this is the only way to lead a healthy lifestyle is by eating broccoli. You know, y'all know I'm a huge fan of it, but if it's not your jam, do not make yourself miserable, you know, for a, you know, supposed health benefit. There are other beneficial fruits and vegetables out there that will benefit you. You don't have to suffer through broccoli if you detest it.
I do not like broccoli.
Not gonna do it. So that's what I can tell you about DIM, Diindolylmethane supplements. You know, in the clinical studies we have, yes, they do appear to be relatively safe with no adverse effects. However, given the nuances of what we have learned about, you know, how it interacts with the estrogen pathways and its effects on metabolism of drugs, you know, you do have to proceed with caution. Again, I emphasize discussing with your healthcare provider if this is right for you. In the description box, I'm going to link my video on like the best foods for acne, the acne diet, other, you know, foods and things that can influence relative oiliness. So if you are dealing with cystic acne, make sure you check that video out. You know, it's not about fear mongering certain diets or foods or whatever. It's just, you know, straight up the evidence that, yeah, certain foods may increase oiliness in some people. So check that video out if you are dealing with oiliness, acne breakouts. It may be helpful to you to, you know, take a look at it. I've seen comments as I went on the internet to see what people were saying about the supplement before doing this video. And I've seen some interesting comments of people, you know, wondering if this would be an alternative to spironolactone. And people were like, I don't want to take spironolactone indefinitely. That's a medication that, you know, antagonizes the androgen receptor. I don't want to take spironolactone indefinitely. I would rather take something more natural. But I've got to caution you against this natural fallacy, because taking super physiologic doses of a compound is not natural. Even if it comes from broccoli, it's not natural. And you can go down a pathway where it ends up causing you harm. At least with spironolactone, it is a regulated medication. We know the dosage, we know the side effects to monitor for. It is safe long-term. Whereas with a supplement, you're kind of going in the dark there. A, you don't know what you're getting. B, we don't have good studies on the long-term safety ramifications of taking a supplement like this at super physiologic levels, you know, and that sort of thing. So don't fall for the, oh, I want something more natural than a prescription drug. So in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you know, I wouldn't consider a DIM supplement natural. It's not natural to take super physiologic levels of something. And while it appears to have beneficial outcomes in lab studies, cells on a dish, and what have you, you can have too much of a good thing. And we have learned this lesson from dietary antioxidants. You know, there are studies on vitamin E supplements actually increasing the risk of lung cancers in smokers. So you certainly can tip the balance in the wrong direction by taking super physiologic doses of compounds that are naturally found in fruits and vegetables and plants. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below, and if you have heard of DIM, do you know anyone who has taken it? Have you taken it? Let us know in the comments. On the end slate, I'm going to link my video on acne and diet. So check that out if that's something that you are interested in or dealing with. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.